Hello. This is continuation part 2 or part 1 because the last one was part 0. So yeah, so in this episode or this video, we're going to be factory resetting this thing, the Amazon AWS DeepLens. Last time we tried to register our device and get other things rolling, but the issue with that we were having, or I was having, was I forgot my password to the device, so I had to factory reset the whole thing. Yeah, so in this video we're gonna go step by step on how we do it. Just FYI, I've already done this and making this video because there are quite a lot of steps that are complicated, but also steps that are not available in the documentations, like the official documentation when it comes to troubleshooting different things. So yeah, so just to kind of give overview on what's going on today is, yeah, we're gonna factory reset this device, and anyone might want to do this for many reasons. In my case, I forgot my password, so I need to just reinstall the whole thing. For others, this can become corrupted, the OS or the files, you delete files by accidentally, or anything can happen. And this is a developer dev device, so we gotta be more flexible with how things work. We can't just assume that things are gonna work. So it's just good to know how to reset this device. To begin, I just want to point out that this device is 2019 version. I think that's what it's called. So this is the old video. Let's see. AWS DeepLens 2019 version. Yeah, so there are two versions. One was announced in 2017 and then available in 2018. The 2019 edition is this one. The difference is that there's a simplified initial device setup, a USB to USB cable setup. That is not true at all. It's not easy at all, actually. I don't know if you saw in the previous video, the registration thingy didn't actually work, so we had to use the original way of doing it, which was getting into or accessing this via its Wi-Fi portal kind of thing. I don't know what to call it, but it's similar to the way you set up your new Wi-Fi router. Like you connect to it, it's not connected to the internet yet, but you go to its like IP address and you do like admin as a login, admin as a password, and you go into its setting. And that's basically what you're doing with this. Long story short, this is 2019 version with registration USB right there, registration, and one USB port. I'm emphasizing this because this becomes like a huge issue when it comes to factory resetting this specific version of the device. Because in order to reinstall the OS, you need to have a bootable drive with files in it with like new OS in it to install to this device. Meaning you need to plug this in here, and a keyboard to work with its like the interface. In this case, we need to enter its BIOS, which I guess handles a lot of the boot sequence when it comes to any computer devices. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, because I don't know much about these things. But long story short, this and this USB cable, the keyboard cable needs to be plugged in to the device before it's booted up. sorry, I'm like shaking the camera. You can't do it because one of these registration one doesn't work for input output for some reason. So yeah, so basically we only have one USB port left. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go into the whole SD card setup part 2 later, but so there are 3 parts in this video. One is to get these set up. One's SD card that comes with 2019 edition and the USB drive that I bought separately. I think you need at least 16 gigabytes. We'll look at the documentation in a bit, but you need these two set up as this one has to become bootable with the recovery OS, and this one needs to become partitioned and reformatted as NTFS format with new OS and other files and scripts for installing into this device. So that's gonna be the first part. The second part is gonna be actually doing the factory reset, which goes through the whole process of entering the BIOS, booting into this, and then running the script manually to install all the files into the device. And the last part is going to be actually getting into this device on the console, registering it, and getting it to work up and running. Because there are hurdles when it comes to getting the video stream working, along with like uploading different things. So this is going to be a long video. So to begin, we're gonna have to plug these in to our machine, the local machine, in this case MacBook, but it's highly recommended that you use Linux. In our case, we're going to use Ubuntu because it has tools that are very convenient, such as gparted and just different tools. Yeah, and also the AWS. Here, let me show you. Yeah, so this instruction preparing the factory reset part, it goes through all the steps, but they're assuming that you have Linux, which is kind of annoying, but also makes sense because you want to keep things more consistent. So it's good to have Linux. I'm going to assume that you guys can get Linux. If you're on Mac, you can use what do you call this? VirtualBox, and download Ubuntu, whatever version. We're using 2004.1. If you guys want a tutorial on how to set this up, you can leave a comment or message me. But assuming that you guys know already all that and already installed, we can begin. So we're gonna take this thing and then plug it in. Now FYI, I already done like partitioning and things already on these two devices, so we're gonna just wipe it and just start from scratch. So as you can see, well, these are the videos already filmed, but this boot one, I'm gonna eject it, and devices, USB-C adapter. Not adapter, card reader. And yep, shows up. Cool. So what we're going to do first is, I guess, follow these steps. Okay. So we're gonna start from the top. So format the USB drive. Now I'm not gonna follow these exactly because of the issue with OneDrive situation. So the way we're gonna do it is, so originally you need to partition single USB drive into two parts. First partition is for the recovery OS, bootable OS, and the second part is all the files and the script files that you need to run within the recovery OS to reinstall the new OS into the device. Meaning they don't need to be on the same USB drive necessarily. Yeah, so what we're gonna do in our case is we're gonna do first partition in the SD card, and we're not gonna do the second one. But we're gonna do the second partition within the USB drive that we just got. So make the USB flash drive bootable. We'll ignore all of this and come down to here. To partition a USB drive, yeah, so they're assuming the it's funny because they're saying format the USB drive by running Ubuntu commands on the AWS DeepLens device or a computer running Ubuntu. I thought it was funny that they said AWS DeepLens device because we're doing the factory reset because the AWS DeepLens device doesn't work. So in our case, we can't use this to set our USB and SD card up because I don't know the password for it. So we're using a computer running Ubuntu, in this case, virtual one. So in the terminal window, run the following commands. Yeah, well, I disappeared again. Let's see. So we're gonna do sudo apt get update sudo I'm just gonna assume that you guys already know how to use like Linux to a certain extent. So yeah, so we already have gparted installed. And there are three stuff here. The first one, so the way I try to tell the difference between different devices. So gparted, I guess it's a software used to manipulate with different like devices that are connected, even within the hard drive that it's running on. In the virtual machine, I set it up so that it has like 100 some gigabytes as a free virtual storage. So I know that the dev/SDA is this machine's main one. So we can do different things here. But that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in these two things. So dev/SDB1, I know it's the USB drive one because the total storage that it has is 64 gigabytes. It's showing close to 60 gigabytes, which makes sense because it already has like different stuff laid on top. Anyway, so I know this one is the USB drive, and I know this one, SDV/SDD, is the SD card, because the total storage of that is 32 gigabytes, and this one's showing near 30 gigabytes. So yeah, the first part that we're gonna do is to create this first partition, fat of 2 gigabytes, and we're gonna do that on the SD card. So we're gonna select the SD card, and as you can see, I already have it all set up, but I'm gonna just pretend it's not there. So I'm gonna mount it, I'm gonna delete it, apply, it's gone. So it's unallocated, it's empty. Now, yeah, so this is like similar. Unallocated 29, blah, blah. And in the gparted console, choose. Now this documentation is kind of bad because they're assuming that the drive is within the dev/SDA, but it doesn't have to be in dev/SDA. The naming convention here is just kind of like arbitrary. So yeah, this isn't really very significant as long as you can find the correct one. Do you see the issue with this also? The issue with this is that if I just assume that the dev/SDA is the one, I would have just repartitioned and deleted everything within the dev/SDA, which is the machine's whole onboard storage. So I would have deleted and broke the whole virtual machine if I'd done that. So so don't focus too much on the dev/SDA, but look at the size of the devices. Yep, as it says to, if any of the partitions are locked, well, it's not locked because the key symbol is gone. Amount, blah, 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 and to create, so now we're gonna create the partition of 2 gigabyte capacity. Technically, I don't have to, but I'm just gonna show you how you do it, following the official documentation as much as possible. But you don't have to do exactly 2 gigabytes. So I'm gonna do 12048 and 28551. I mean, just, if you can tell, it's just saying that this is the new size we're gonna allocate, 2048 megabytes. For those who are not familiar with how storage sizes are weird, 1 gigabyte is technically 24 megabytes. So 2 gigabytes will be times 2, 2048. Free space. Oh no. Sad. Okay, I think my thing froze. So I'll be back. The virtual machine is dying. Or not? Yep, it's dying. Okay. Okay. Let's do VirtualBox. Launch it again. Yeah, I assumed this would happen because I'm also running the screen recording at the same time. So the machine is probably dying on the inside, so I'm gonna try not to touch as much as possible. So we're back in. Okay, so we're here, devices, card reader. I'm selecting that because that's where the SD card is located. Okay, sudo gparted. I'm gonna try to blaze it through before our computer detects it. So yeah, we're here, and we're gonna try to create the new one. So 1/2048 primary partition, FAT32 boot. You need to label that boot. Leave the partition name blank and press add, and you have to press the apply all operations. Yes, please. Cool. So now we have this thing available. That space is available for installing stuff, but anyway, yeah, so that's that. Now we're gonna do the second partition, and we're not going to do within the same SD card because we're going to use the USB drive instead. So create NTFS partition. Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to go into dev STB 59.75 gigabyte. That's where the USB drive is at, and I'm going to delete these. Well, before we do, so let me just show you what happens. Well, the things you can't even do anything. You can't like delete. You can't recreate. You need to unmount it. Mount this too, and delete. So the operations are pending, and now we're gonna click yes. And it's gonna be clean. Cool. And we have unallocated space. And now we're gonna create 9 gigabyte capacity of NTFS formatted. So I'm gonna blaze it through too. Actually, that's, yeah. Free space proceeding, don't worry about that. 28551. Free space following makes sense in this case because that's how much is left. I don't know why. Yeah, honestly, it doesn't matter. Free space proceeding does. It's like a Linux thing. Anyway, keep going. Primary partition blank. Set this to NTFS. Label flash. So it doesn't have to be exactly looking like this. 0, 0. I'm gonna press add and proceed. And it's okay if half of it is like unallocated, because the computer or the machines won't be able to detect it anyway. So now we have these two set up. One is 2 gigabytes partition, the SD card, and the one USB drive has NTFS partition. So we're good to go. And now we're going to use, I guess, we're gonna, well, yeah, do step 2. Make the USB drive, or the, in our case, SD card, the one that has FAT32 partition, into a bootable thing. So just follow this step of download the customized Ubuntu ISO image, which is the recovery Ubuntu. Download it. I already downloaded it here. And using the unet bootin, I had to download this too. You might have issues downloading it, but it's okay. There are plenty of resources that people already troubleshooted it. So we're gonna load up the unet bootin, and let's follow the same step. Disk image, ISO. We're gonna find the thing, Ubuntu Live, 0 megabytes, USB drive. Now if this one doesn't show up right away, just go hard disk and then come back to it, and it should show up. Dev SSD1. This one should show automatically, but the what do you call it? The OS kind of or the software already detected that that's the one that has like the FAT32, which I guess is a format that's used to create bootable drives and stuff. But yeah, and this one shows that dev SDA1, but as you can see, there's no dev SDA1, so it doesn't have to be exactly that. And press OK. Oh, you have to mount it. How do I mount it? Oh, yeah. So to mount it, I'll just open gparted. I might crash the system again. That's okay. STD. Yeah, I need to mount this. How do I mount it? I mean, yeah, honestly, worst case, just like unplug it and plug back in the USB. You can simulate it by doing this. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. We need to unplug the SD card and re-plug in the SD card. Yep. And it should show that it's mounted. Yep, with the little key logo. That means it's mounted. So now we can do STD1, and press OK. And here, for some reason, on this machine, yeah, this happens. Just exit out, and it should do the rest of it flawlessly, hopefully. Yeah. We'll just wait. While we wait, I guess I can kind of talk about this life. Currently, I'm in Korea visiting my parents, and right now I'm just kind of quarantining myself in this room. And yeah, I had like 14 hours to just kind of work on this and figure this stuff out. But yeah, anyway, the quarantining here is kind of not fun, but it's nice because gotta be safe because of COVID. I got to leave within a week, so leave meaning like this room. So yeah, installation complete. Exit. So the bootable drive, the SD card is ready. Now we're gonna move on to step 3, which is to copy the factory restore files into the NTFS partition. Excuse me. In our case, it's the USB drive. So let's see. We can close out of these. So we named it Flash. So I'm gonna open this. As you can see, it's empty. But now we're gonna copy the restore files. Now just click on the appropriate one and then install it. In our case, the 2019 version clearly says 1.1 at the bottom, HW version 1.1. So download this, AWS DeepLens version 1.1, unzip it, move to a local file, and just copy and paste these files into here. As you can see, you just need total 6 files, these ones and these ones, meaning it's everything except the result.log. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to move it. That's going to take a while because the actual, the new OS, the new image, which is this one, is 9.2 gigabytes. It's like ginormous. So now we'll just kind of wait here. Yeah. And I'll be back. I'm not gonna let you guys sit through the whole thing. And once that's complete, the 2 devices are ready to go, and we're gonna watch the part 2 of this video, which is actually using these 2 devices to factory reset this live. So yeah, this is gonna keep running. Yeah, but I do have to go eat, so I'm gonna stop this here now. Done. So we can just honestly just exit out. I would recommend just keeping these files here, because it takes a while to download them, but also you might have to repeat this whole process in case anything goes wrong during the actual factory reset process. One of the common one is the NTFS formatted drive becoming corrupted. In this case, the USB drive. But don't panic, because once you're in the recovery Ubuntu OS, you can use this thing called NTFS fix, and all you have to do is like do dev/the std, like whatever the USB drive is called, and just press enter, and it should just fix it magically. So no need to worry. But yeah, that's it for setting the devices up. I'll just kindly unplug them. Quit. Yeah, and now we'll move on to actual step of restoring AWS DeepLens to factory settings. Yep, it's a really short thing, but in a bit you'll see why it's such a big issue, the fact that the 2019 device only has one USB port. So yeah, so the first step of this section is follow the instructions, prepare your stuff, in this case the SD card and USB. Now we're gonna begin restoring it. Yep,